Hey everyone, welcome to the Roto Grinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevie TPFL. It's July 28th. It's Thursday. We have 7 baseball games tonight. Little bit to talk about here as far as the games go. There's some pitching options, and I can't pick pitchers for the life of me for the last few days, which is completely opposite of what's usually wrong with my daily fantasy game. So I'm bringing in the chalk. I went to the bullpen. The right-handed chalk is coming. And Dean, how you doing, my friend?
What's going on, Stevie? I have to correct you, though. I'm a lefty. I'm a southpaw.
That makes me feel even worse. See, I can't get anything right with pitchers. Oh, man. I couldn't have been more wrong about Schumacher and Foltynewicz on this last night's slate. I'm so tilted about it still.
I'm bummed because, all my favorite pitchers pitched last night, basically. A lot of the guys, just kind of my pet pitchers. Gray, Duffy, we talked about. Shu was someone I've been playing. I actually ended up not playing him last night. Basically, I had a lot of Bundy, especially on DraftKings. I had a pile of McCullers and a lot of Darvish. So I was kind of sort of on it when it comes to pitchers. And I had a lot of Cub stacks. And ask me how many Addison Russell shares I had in my Cub stacks. Zero, yeah. I am tilted right now because I just, so I know this is a fantasy draft show, but I was just telling you right before the show, I'm in those on DK. They have the top 3 gets $1,000. You get the super boosters, whatever. Guess where I am, Stevie?
I already know, but for the listeners' sake, I'm going to guess 4th.
Yeah, I'm not on the podium. I did not get a bronze medal. I don't know. There's some. I don't know what's waiting for me. There's some iron and $0.
All right. Before we get talking baseball here, if you guys like the podcast Monday through Friday, make sure you guys head on over to fantasydraft.com. They sponsor the podcast. Make sure you use promo code Grinders. That way you guys get a 100% deposit bonus up to $600. And you get incentives here at Roto Grinders for Fantasy Draft for free for a year. That is a $180 value. So just by typing in your promo code Grinders, you're going to get that incentives package. So make sure you guys are doing that. If you're listening to the podcast and, it's Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, get into your golf games. They got a bunch of golf action over there on draft, so make sure you guys are checking that out. A lot of baseball action, a lot to get to here because it's an interesting slate. We have some top pitchers, so we're going to talk about those guys. But this first game, Kyle Gibson, Ubaldo Jimenez, Baltimore at Minnesota, I feel like this is going to be the highest scoring game of the night, and that's right where we start.
Yeah, this is the appetizer game, but this is the main course, right? This is the ribeye. We got Kyle Gibson versus Ubaldo Jimenez. I think as far as the first peak, taking a look here at Vegas, I want to say it's a 9.5 as far as the over/under, and Minnesota is a slight favorite as well. So, yeah, this is kind of we're going to talk about some more games going forward, and there's a lot of places, a lot of pitchers I kind of want to avoid, but this game not so much. I'm all about attacking both these pitchers.
All right, let's start with Baltimore, the visiting team here. Who do you like here for the Orioles?
We'll talk about Minnesota in a second. I feel better about Minnesota, but all the usual suspects are in play. Taking a peek over here on FanDuel, Adam Jones is 3.5. He's probably going to lead off on the road. Pretty much solidifies himself for 5 ABs. I'm assuming things go fairly well. Don't mind him. The Trumbomb is 3.9. That's a pretty fair price as well. Of course, Machado. Basically, you can run. Chris Davis is 1 for his last 30 or so. He finally broke that streak last night. You know how he did it? He dropped the bunt down the third base line. He finally said, screw it. There's nobody over there. I've struck out 17 times in a row. Yeah, I'll just drop a bunt down there. And it worked perfectly. And then he just kept getting out after that. But just good to see. Worth acknowledging. Head nod. You're not really getting much of a discount. It's 4K. Power in Minnesota is obviously much better for righties than it is for lefties. But that said, Chris Davis has ridiculous power, and when he actually does make contact, he gets a hold of it, he can certainly bang one out. And, Baltimore is a team that hits a lot of homers, and Gibson gives up a lot of homers. So, yeah, there's a lot of upside when it comes to some dongs.
Yeah, summed it up pretty easily for me here. Machado's price still really fair on Fantasy Draft at $8,400. A little bit over my $8,000 price range that I like to target guys at, but that price tag, you need to get him in your lineups at that price range. That's too cheap. You mentioned Jones. He's underpriced. Strumbo has upside. Chris Davis, I know he's a little slow right now, but I think he'll come on. And you're playing him for the upside. You're playing him for the boomer bust. You're not playing him in cash games, so I don't mind him. You said you liked Minnesota. Where are you going here with the Twins?
Yeah, like one of my favorite plays is right off the bat is Nunez, probably going to be leading off 3.7K as a shortstop. Ubaldo Jimenez, he has some issues with walks and he has issues with holding on runners. So I just feel like Nunez is going to get on, he's going to swipe bag. And another guy that can do that, if he does not bang one out for whatever reason, Dozier. Dozier has a handful of steals this year. I want like seven or so, I want to say. That sounds about right. A little less than a handful, but 7 works for me. And if you look I took a peek. I know it's your gimmick. I saw the BVP as far as Dozier. He's been on base, looks like 7 times in his career against Ubaldo with 4 stolen bases. He knows his move fairly well. He knows it's not good.
I think everybody knows it's not good, though, right?
Yeah, that seems to be common knowledge. But he's a guy that, like, Dozier's not a guy you think of, stolen bases. He certainly can get them, but he kind of picks his spots, and this just seems like a spot he's going to pick.
Yeah, if he can get on base, which I don't think it's going to be quite an issue here against Jimenez. I like his price tag on Fantasy Draft a lot. It's only $8,000. You can kind of get a lot of value from this game and still get your pitchers that you want. And this is going to be a high-scoring game. This is a game you're going to want to target in cash games, and this is a game you're going to want to target in tournaments as well. What's your thoughts here on Kenny's Vargas? I feel like he's an upside play that we can look at.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what he is. I don't think he's probably not somebody that will end up in my cash game lineup. We'll talk about a pitcher that I want to roster, and it's probably going to make it a little tricky to pay up in too many spots. But Vargas – he's a traditional boom bust guy, and this is something I've kind of like adjusted my gameplay on. I'm more open to playing boom bust players in my cash game lineup just because cash game players have gotten smarter. There's more information out there, and the lineups are pretty sharp. So a lot of times you're going 2v2, 3v3. If you just get that one outlier that nobody's going to be playing, like a guy like Vargas, of course he can go over, but anybody can go over, right? But the power is definitely immense. I'm okay with him in cash, but it's not something I'm seeking out. Like if it makes absolutely everything else work, sure. But at 3K on FanDuel, it's like I'm not getting a big discount. It seems pretty fair, but I definitely like him if nothing else for tournaments.
Yeah, I like him a lot because I want big power lefties against Jimenez. 425 WOBA, 36% hard contact. He's given up a lot of home runs to lefties. So I want the power lefties. And when you're thinking of this lineup, you're thinking of Vargas and maybe Max Kepler. I know he's not a big power guy, but that's kind of where you're at with the left-handed bats here.
Yeah, Kepler's I looked at his minor league numbers and like what he's done so far in the majors just doesn't make any sense. I guess you can just say small sample size. Maybe he's progressed. I don't know. I have not really been on Kepler. I'm not saying it's not a fine play. It's just somebody that I haven't been playing, and I feel like I missed the boat. And now if I'm playing, I feel like I'm kind of chasing. I just don't know if he's really that good. I'm not totally buying it. Maybe I'm just being I don't know. I'm not buying it. I don't think he's the real deal.
That's fair. It's all going to come down to lineup spot for me. If he's in a good lineup spot, I'll play him here just because I want lefties in this matchup. Any other thoughts here on this game before we move on?
Well, Sano. I mean, Sano is definitely worth a head nod. I know he's not a lefty, but Ubaldo can give it up to both sides. Yeah, 3.8K. And we talk about the power in Minnesota is much more, much more suitable for right-handers than it is for left-handers. So I'm perfectly fine with Sano. And he's, again, another boom bust guy. He looks so bad on some at-bats, but then when he gets a hold of it, it just looks amazing.
Yeah, I don't mind Sano. It's another tournament play, but if you ask me where I would go Vargas and Kepler before I would go Sano. But I'm a little crazy, and it is what it is. St. Louis at Miami. Did you like the logo? You like the All-Star Game logo? I'm sure you saw it today.
I didn't see it. I saw a picture of like the commissioner.
Oh, man.
I think that. I mean, look, I think they just take away the All-Star Game from Miami. I really do. Because they're the dirtbag ownership. They lied to the people. The whole building is a fraud. They're promising they're going to spend money on players was a fraud. I think that they should really take it away. I don't believe that ownership deserves it. They're going to prop up Stanton and Fernandez and trade him the next day. But look, I'm a Marlin fan, and I'm very hard on my own. Look, David Samson. The only reason why he's in the organization is because he married into it. He is so Weasley, David Samson. So Weasley. He was the first guy voted out in Survival. He was too Weasley for Survivor. Even they said, wait a second, this guy's just too much of a snake for us.
I wanted to be there because I want to go. I'm being selfish. I want to go. I do too. I don't care about the owner. I'm going to the game. I'm going to the home run derby. And I'm going all in on Jose Fernandez here against St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, I know St. Louis is really good against righties as a team. Throughout the year, they've been one of the best teams against righties. Worth noting that Matt Carpenter still is out, so him not being in that lineup, it's a big hole top of the order. Greg Garcia, I'm going to say Greg Garcia. If he leads off again, that's a downgrade, right?
Yeah, because I was really I was really surprised they didn't lead off Gruchik in that matchup last night. So,
were you really Matheny's surprising you?
I really what all you have to do is look at the kid's stats. He's really good against righties against a bad right-handed pitcher. Why wasn't he batting leadoff?
You're assuming Matheny looks at stats. That's your first mistake.
Oh man! All right, let Michael Wacha. Does he pique your interest at all here against Miami?
No, definitely not. I'm not going to roster Wacha. Like I said, Jose Fernandez. The K rate is absurd. 36%, 36 and change. Gotta love him. He's basically on the fast track right now for the Cy Young. We'll see how that turns out. They mentioned they're kind of trying to sort of cap him at 180 innings, but of course they might make a run at the playoffs, which is crazy. I have no idea how they're doing that, but that's certainly possible. Yeah, Jose is your cash game guy. Just lock and load him and just sort of figure the bats out from there. As far as Wacha, he's just pedestrian, not very good. The Marlin lineup is middle of the road, I suppose. As far as the sticks on Miami, Stanton 3.6. That's too cheap, right?
Yes, I said it yesterday. He was an auto play for me.
Yeah, Yelich is fine at 3.6. That was my prediction at the beginning of the year. By the way, I predicted that Yelich would win the batting title. He's currently not, but he's in the conversation of. I'm trying to think. There's a guy out there. We don't follow batting average very much, but there's somebody up there that's doing really well in batting average, like 20 points above everybody else. Who is that? We don't.
Isn't it Daniel Murphy?
That's who it is. Yeah, there you go.
That like 350.
Yeah, not to be outdone, Jose Altuve, I think, is like around 360 or so, but that's, of course, in the AL. But, yeah, I love Yelich. He's not the greatest upside. He doesn't hit a lot of fly balls, more of a line drive ground ball hitter, but I think he's perfectly fine at 3.6. Ozuna at 3.2 is perfectly fine. I mean, the fact that they're rolling out – I mean, they're missing Justin Bour. They're playing what's the dude's name they keep playing that's just terrible? Well, not Rojas, Kelly's playing first base. He's not good at baseball.
2 triples in yesterday's game.
Yeah, but that's what is it? You can't predict baseball.
All right, so I feel like this needs to be talked about. D. Gordon gets unsuspended tomorrow, so on Thursday he's unsuspended. I'm going to be interested to see if he's in the lineup or not.
Yeah, Mattingly said he's not just going to be crowned. He's not going to just be handed over as far as the lineup spot. He's not going to be an everyday player necessarily, not right away. I don't know if that's just like coach speak or manager speak or however you want to phrase it. But it is. I am kind of curious how they handle that. And you know what? I came unprepared, but I'm curious how long this Marlins homestand is because I talk about the dirtbag ownership. They want to milk this Ichiro thing as long as possible. They absolutely want him to get his 3,000th hit in Miami. They're not going to let that happen on the road. I'm curious how much longer they're there. But, yeah.
It's a long homestand.
Is it? Are they still in the middle of it? Okay.
Yeah.
And they probably want to have him pinch hit here and there, just get close, and then don't do it. Actually get above 15,000 people or so in the crowd. But, yeah, I am kind of curious to see how the Marlins, negotiate their lineup once they bring Gordon back. So, yeah, and I think he's playable. I mean, he's still fast, right? As far as I know.
Yeah, I expect him to still be fast. And for the second straight day, I'm putting Stanton as one of my fantasy draft plays. I know he's not under 8K, but 8,100, I can cheat a little bit. He's too cheap. You have to play him over on Fantasy Draft and DraftKings tonight. It's just too cheap.
7-game slate. We can grade him the curve. That works for me.
Yeah, I got to curve it a little bit. Is there anybody here for the Cardinals that you want against Fernandez?
No. Do you?
No.
Okay.
That was easy, right?
That was very easy, yes.
All right, let's move on. Philadelphia at Atlanta, Aaron Nola, Matt Witzler. We were talking a little bit before we jumped on because I was waiting for my Apple Care chat to finish, and I noticed that it's supposed to be the 90s, and the wind's going to be blowing out very heavily at 13 to 15 miles an hour out to right center in this game. What's your thoughts on Nola and Witzler?
Yeah, well, I'll talk about the pitchers in a second, but my first thought was this is actually my thought before, my research before talking to you, but I was like, who I might actually possibly consider playing tonight? 7-game slate, a little bit off the board, maybe looking to save some salary, especially in tournaments. I really can't trust him in cash games because he doesn't always play 9 innings. And he's about 1,000 years old, and his BABIP is like 12 because he either hits it over the fence or just, is going to get thrown out from the outfield. Ryan Howard's in play tomorrow against Matt Wisler, and he's 2.1K.
I can give you that.
His BABIP has been really low this year, and a lot of that has to do with the fact he just can't move. So, like, you can hit the ball, and, D. Gordon type would definitely beat it out, and he's just not going to because he's long in the tooth, I guess we can say. I'm not really sure what that phrase, where it comes from, but it just means he's old. And he's hefty. He's husky. I'm not going to fat shame him or anything, but, I think Ryan Howard's in play, and Odubel Herrera, he's overpriced. And, I mean, for you, I think that probably is interesting just because – who's going to play him at 3.8K on FanDuel?
Nobody.
You might.
He's expensive on DraftKings and Fantasy Draft as well. Yeah, you have to look at him, especially if Przinsky's behind the plate. Przinsky's one of the worst catchers in baseball at throwing people out. So if Herrera's in there, even at 3,800, you have to give him a look in tournaments because not only does he have the potential to have a big game at the plate, but he has a potential to have a big game on the bases too if Przinsky's behind the plate. And they're facing a righty, so I'm guessing Przinsky will be back there and Recker will be on the bench.
Worth mentioning, Maikel Franco, he's been dealing with a wrist, and I'm not playing him right now. He's in a slump. I don't know if it's corollary or not, but I'm just kind of assuming it is, and I'm just not going to play him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Ryan Howard call. Cody Eschy, I think he's another guy you can look at that's pretty cheap across the industry as well. We want lefties in this matchup. Wind's blowing out to right. You have pitchers. Both these pitchers struggle with left-handed bats. So, this is a matchup that I feel like all the lefties are in play. And, we have to mention Freddie Freeman. Like, he's 3,300 on FanDuel, and he's coming off of a massive game. So I like Freeman.
He feels kind of cashy at 3.3K. I don't really want to pick on Nola. I think Nola's one of the better arms taking the bump tonight. But if you're going to get to him, you're probably going to get to him with a lefty. You mentioned it's expected to be hot. The weather is, as far as the wind is blowing out the right field, and that's just perfect for Freeman, is it not?
He's 7,200 over on Fantasy Draft. I feel like it's criminally low.
Oh boy, copyright infringement. Here comes Siege.
Oh, that's okay. Me and Siege do the podcast all the time. We switch some lingo every once in a while.
Oh, his is criminally. Is it criminally? Maybe you changed it a little bit. I don't know. He has a different saying, I believe.
Ryan Howard's 6K over there on draft.
Gosh, I don't want to play. I'm gonna have a share of Ryan Howard, assuming he starts, that's a big assumption. I can't believe I'm gonna have a share of him, but I think I am. I think that's gonna happen.
Kansas City at Texas. Cole Hamels, Yolanda Ventura. Oh, Kansas City. Worst WRC plus in the month of July. This team is really struggling. Their strikeout rate is higher than I've ever seen at 22%. Is this a spot that you can look at Cole Hamels?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's one of the pivots off of Jose. Look at the Kansas City lineup. Who are you afraid of? Who would you actually consider rostering? Hosmer lefty on lefty. Of course, he's definitely a solid hitter, but it subdues him to some extent. Locane is not in there. Obviously, it's a big dent to their lineup. And then you're dealing with guys like Jared Dyson and Paulo Orlando and Cuthbert, and it's just gross. Escobar, their team is just it's not good. It's bad. There's my analysis for you.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have exposure to Hamels in tournaments. I think that this is an excellent spot for him. And, he's won, 6 games out of his last 10, out of his last 8. So with it being so important on FanDuel, getting those 12 points for the win, he just faced this Kansas City team. Didn't look great in that matchup, but I feel like, being at home here, probably a worse ballpark, but I feel like Hamels is in a good spot. Let's talk bats in this game. Is there anybody that you like here for Texas?
170 favorite, by the way, as far as the opening line for Cole Hamels. That's definitely pretty appealing. Taking a peek at the outfield for Texas, this looks like a spot where we're once again going to get some cheapies. I know last night I had my share of the Shields at 2,300. He was a stinker, and he actually got replaced by Moreland at some point throughout the game. And also worth mentioning that Profar, if he continues to bat at the top of the lineup, he was hitting second at 2.3K. I think that's an excellent play to kind of save some salary. But as far as the outfielders against Ventura, I don't mind. I'll go back to the Shields if he's once again batting near top of the order. Or Mazzara, and I know this guy you absolutely love, Joey Gallo. I'm looking at the FanDuel prices. I want to save some money. I want to roster Jose Fernandez. How am I going to do it? Well, Mazzara is 2.4. Yeah, that's very appealing. Nice ballpark, lefty. He's got the splits in his favor. The Shields 2.3. If he's at the top of the order, that's a sweet price. And then Joey Gallo, who his power is absolutely silly. It's absolutely absurd. If he doesn't strike out, because he does strike out a lot. But he's 2.2K, and that is very appealing as well.
Everybody knows I love Joey Gallo. I don't think it's a secret. I've been touting Joey Gallo for a year and a half now, and he didn't waste any time on Tuesday. He had a 50-foot home run in his first game since getting called up. So massive power. He's the second fantasy draft play that's cheap at 6,400. He is not a guy that you're gonna want. That if you want 2 or 3 hits, he's a guy that you're playing for 1 hit and you're hoping it goes over the fence. So I like Joey Gallo in tournaments, and he's my second fantasy draft play. Love the Nomar Mazzara card. He's been hitting in that 2 spot, and he's been cheap on every site, 2,400 on FanDuel. If you're playing cash games, he's a guy you want to look at for sure.
So your boy apparently is Joey Gallo, but I know another one of your boys is Joc Pederson, and he's kind of failed us this year. He's failed you, let's be honest. But if Joc Pederson, in the unlikely hypothetical situation, if Joc Pederson and Joey Gallo are falling off a cliff, who do we reach for first? Who do we say?
Joc. It's not even close. You know how much money Joc Pederson made me in that 15-day stretch last year? 2 live finals, nobody played him, and I played him every day, and he kept hitting 2 home runs.
You haven't lost it back yet?
Oh, I'm sure I have. Who knows? But the thing is, I know when to get off with somebody, and I really haven't been on Joc that much this year. Yeah, I play him in certain spots, fly ball pitchers that give up a lot of hard contact.
Although also worth mentioning, the most talented outfielder, and it's weird. It seems like his ownership is always down. I think it was down once again tonight. Desmond is he's a really, really good hitter. Just kind of gets lost in the shuffle because his price. When people stack Texas, they sometimes just forget about him because it's this guy's way too expensive. And these other guys, they're all pretty good options too, so I don't mind it. So I just think his ownership is generally just a little bit lower than it should be. You got Adrian Beltre. He's fine. The price is not particularly good at 3.9K on FanDuel. But, yeah, again, if you can get Profar leading off or batting second, wherever he was, 2.3K, I think that's a really soft landing spot as far as your cash games. It makes Jose Fernandez very easy or more durable, more doable. How about that?
Yeah, Ventura is a guy that gives up a lot of hard contact too, struggles the lefties and righties, so don't be afraid to attack him with this Texas lineup. Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs, Chris Sale, John Lackey. I know you're all about the narratives, but Chris Sale, 5 days suspension for tearing up a jersey that he didn't want to wear, requested to be traded. What can we expect here from Chris Sale?
Wait, did he request to be traded? I didn't see that. I saw that he basically said how much he loves playing for the White Sox, and he basically called out Ventura saying he said the players' backs. And I swear
I saw on Twitter that Sale wanted to be traded.
Maybe I missed that, but I'm
pulling it up now.
What did you think of the whole uniform incident where he went all Edward Scissorhands in the locker room?
Look, if the pitcher's uncomfortable in a jersey, he's your pitcher. He's your star. Switch jerseys. I'm a pitcher. I'm the worst person to ask.
Yeah, I kind of sort of get it, but I'm going to assume he probably wasn't the most mature about it. But you know what it reminded me of that? I didn't hear anybody else mention. Remember LeBron ripped his sleeves? Remember they had the sleeves for and he has ripped it on national TV because they were trying to sell jerseys because there's fat guys out there that are NBA fans that don't want to wear jerseys because it's not the most pleasant look. LeBron, he pulls it off. Yeah, I don't know if I want to play any Cubs. And FanDuel has been doing this weird thing. I'm sure you've noticed, or at least they have been to some extent. They've been kind of bumming off DK with the dynamic pricing and draft as well, and they didn't really go dynamic pricing in this game. Why is Bryant what is he? I think he's 4K. Why is Rizzo 3.9? There's no discounts. Rizzo versus Sale. The discount's not consistent. Have you noticed this with FanDuel?
Yeah, I've noticed that all year. I love it, but this is not a spot that they really did it. I agree with you.
And I can't play Jason Hayward. That's not happening. I don't even think I played him last night. I had very little of him. Fowler, He's probably going to lead off at 3-2. I suppose he's interesting, I guess, but I don't want to pick on Chris Sale. I think that the bigger question is, do you roster him in like a GPP?
All right, so not to, and I'll answer your question here in a second, but back to it wasn't he wanted to be traded. He's sick of the manager. So you were right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually do think he is an interesting tournament play here because think about the Cubs and left-handed pitching this year. They've struggled at times against lefties. I know the numbers are going to tell us otherwise, but I feel like we're going to get one or two things, and I'm going to do both of these things. I'm going to stack the Cubs in this game, and I'm going to play Sale on the team in this game because Sale's either going to go out and dominate this game or he's going to have all this media around him, and he's going to go out and not be focused, and the Cubs are going to put up runs. So tournament only and kind of hedge yourself. That's where I'm at.
I just love when we do that. Like we just play we'll play the results and say, well, he gave up 6 runs in 3 innings. Clearly he wasn't focused. But if he goes out there and goes like 7 innings and, strikes out 9, he was locked in. He wasn't even thinking about jerseys.
I'm guessing he's not going to be thinking about jerseys. He apologized to the fans and all that stuff. And, we have to kind of think that he's going to be out there and he's going to be fine. But, it's not the best matchup in the world either. Last
year, the Cubs were kind of Astros-esque in their boom bust. They would get some homers. They would strike out a bunch. They're not striking out versus lefties this year. They're 24th, actually. In fact, 19.4% in Sale. His K rate has gone down as well. I don't know, man. I might have one Sale share just because. But, I'm just trying to get cute. Jose's going to lock it down, right? That's going to happen. So why are we getting cute?
We're both on the Fernandez train, but in a tournament, there's no reason that you can't, play a Sale team and then play a Zobrist, a Fowler, a Baez, and a Contreras and get these guys all that are under 3,500 that have the upside.
Contreras has not played for 2 games in a row. What up with that? Is he just getting, the mental days off, or is he dinged to some extent?
I haven't heard anything about him being dinged up at all.
Yeah, okay, just 2 days in a row, and I guess he's fine. Maybe just it's the old mental rest. And if he does something, it's clearly he's cleared his head. That's why he homered. I just love when analysts do that. And I'm guilty of it as well. I do the same exact thing. It's just fun. But, all right, as far as are we picking on Lackey? Speaking of salty pitchers, Lackey's kind of salty too, right?
Lackey just does enough, right? That's kind of his thing. He gives up a lot of hard contact, but he does enough not to really get shelled. And, the only time he gives up home runs is to righties. So, Frazier, I think Frazier is a great tournament play. And when's Abreu going to bust out of this funk and hit a home run? It's been over a month now.
Has it really been a month?
Yeah, I think it was the 24th or 25th of last month was his last home run.
Oh, wow. He's good. Do you know how many he has in the season? This kind of surprises me. Again, being a DFS player, I don't really look at season stats a ton. How many would you guess as far as the season?
I already know. I wrote up Abreu the other day talking about it.
11. I mean, I figure it was around 15 or so. 11 is that's just putrid.
He hasn't homered in a month.
Jose Altuve's got 10 more home runs than him. Well, I'm exaggerating, but close. What do you think the line is in this game? I just took a peek at that, and this is kind of interesting.
Let me pull up the weather.
Wait, what are you pulling up?
The weather. I have to see the weather. So it's probably at 8.
No, I'm sorry. Not the number. Not the total, but as far as the side.
Lackey's probably favored.
It looks like it opened. The Cubs opened as a slight dog. It was 115. Chicago White Sox were minus 115. Cubs plus 105. Now the Cubs are minus 130. So everybody just said that Chris Sale is going to be mentally checked out. That's what all the sharps said apparently.
All right, that's what we want to know here. Any final thoughts on this game?
That's pretty much it for me. There's some one-offs lurking, sure, and as always with Chicago, consult the weather.
Yeah, wind right now is blowing in pretty heavily. So night before, obviously, pay attention to that as we go on. Boston at Los Angeles taking on the Angels. David Price, Jared Weaver. Red Sox top offense of the night here on the road. Guaranteed 9 plate appearance or 9 innings against Jared Weaver.
Yeah, it's weird that they're in this ballpark. We're kind of thinking that. Again, there's only so much the Marine layer can do to save Weaver against the Red Sox, right?
Yeah, only so much.
He's just
probably not enough.
And like you said, that extra 9th inning is important, especially for guys that you roster on the back end, like a Bradley if you play Leon or something like that. That's you never really know how the lineup's going to go, but there's a decent chance they grab their fourth or fifth at bat, or possibly their fifth at bat if things are going really well. But you'll see like a guy like Sandy Leon, if he's batting ninth and the Red Sox win, 5-1 at home, 8 innings, he only gets 3 at bats. The 8th inning ends on the 6th guy or something like that. The guy's 6th in the order, and if he's on the road, all of a sudden he gets that 4th at bat, which is crucial. If you're considering a guy like Sandy Leon, I'm not really sure why I'm talking about him, but that's where we're at. He's like the least interesting. He's like the 8th most interesting guy as far as hitters on Boston. Ortiz, right? We have to talk about Ortiz.
No, I think we need to talk about Mookie Betts.
Okay, talk about him.
Like, he's starting to warm back up at the plate. He started, he came off the All-Star break a little cold, but he's warming up. And, when we think Weaver, we think how much this guy just absolutely struggles with right-handed bats. Like, his numbers are just ridiculous against righties this year. He's given up 13 home runs in 63 innings to righties. Like, the WOBA, the hard contact. You want right-handed bats against him. And Mookie Betts, batting leadoff, I think there's a good chance we see Mookie get that 4th or maybe even 5th at bat here.
I feel like I need to pull up the splits. Is he worse versus righties and lefties?
Weaver's pretty bad. 350 WOBA against lefties, 375 WOBA against righties. Pretty high hard contact rate to righties, but a little bit lower hard contact rate to lefties, but he still gives up home runs to lefties as well. So, yeah, Ortiz is definitely in play. I like Mookie Betts a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue there is the price is kind of constricting, and we keep talking about if we're rolling out Jose Fernandez, it just makes it really – really tough to pay up for a guy like Betts. And that's just kind of my question. Like, how do we make the Boston stack happen? Who is the pitcher that makes it happen? It's not Jose, obviously. You just can't do it. Basically, if you put Jose in there on FanDuel, you have a 2.9 per player, and you can pick a couple spots and then find some cheapies. We talked about Texas. Of course, everything's lineup dependent. Bradley's pretty fair. Jackie Bradley, 3.2K, perfectly fine with that. You can always step down from Ortiz from 4.7 to Hanram at 3.8. 3.8's not that appealing. Pedroia kind of needs the monster there. It just helps him out so much. I don't know if he can bang one out in LA. I suppose he can. I crapped on him the other day, and he went like 4 for 4 or 5 for 5, and everybody – that was good times. It's the life of being an analyst, right? But
trust me, we're not always right. We try. We put in the time and we put in the effort, and we all been playing the fantasy game here for a little while, and but we're not always right. And usually – most of us, when we recommend something and it doesn't go right, that usually means we're not having a good night.
Yeah, that means we probably lost money. Like,
yeah.
It's like
you lost me money. Well, I'm losing more than I lost you. I pretty much guarantee you that.
I'm not enjoying my evening either, but I apologize 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly. I am so sorry that I said Schumacher was my number 1, and I'm not having a good night either. To make the Boston stack work, it's going to be tough. That's why I think that I like it. It could be really under-owned here. We're going to be wanting to pay up for pitching, and this might be a spot where, we talked about Cole Hamels getting that little bit of a discount, maybe going Cole Hamels with the Red Sox stack on FanDuel.
Yeah, Price is right there too, 10.1K. The thing about Price, it's nice that the strikeouts are definitely there, but of course the Angels don't strike out a lot. They'll just ground out and pop out a lot. Outside of Trout and Calhoun and occasionally Pujols, that lineup is pretty trash, and it's definitely a ballpark upgrade for him as far as pitching. He'll go deep, which I like. His pitch count can get up like 115 or so. They definitely let him go. He's a veteran, and they don't mind pushing him. So I'm good with Price in tournaments as a pivot again away from Jose Fernandez. Jose will probably throw less pitches than Price. That's just probably the way it's going to go down. Doesn't mean he can't be more efficient with them and strike out more guys, but yeah, I don't mind Price at all as far as EPP pitcher. Now, I'm just thinking like SP2, like on draft or on DK or something like that. That's probably a way where you can get the Boston stack if you're stepping down as far as your SP2, and that'll open things up. Have we really found an SP2 yet? Is there somebody on draft that kind of stands out? Like a Nola, how cheap is he? I don't know.
Nola is 16.4.
That's not great.
I think that, honestly, on draft and on DraftKings today, I'm probably going to just pay up for 2 guys. It might not be Fernandez just because he's so expensive, but, I might pay up for a Hamels and a Lackey or, a Hamels and a Price. But I don't know how much I really want to play David Price against this red-hot Angels team. Like, I think the Angels being hot is a real thing right now.
I mean, again, I just stare at the names and I'm like this. Bandy and
I
Anderson
know
Simmons,
they just keep hitting though. Like we
Johnny
keep
G.
saying this, but they continue to hit.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not afraid to pick on him with an arm if I really like the arm, and I think Price is really really good. What are we doing with you talk about playing guys, they're hitting. Are you actually going to play Angels? You going to go that far?
I don't know. It's a 7-game slate. I haven't even looked at game selection or tournaments that I'm going to be playing here. And, if it's a large field tournament, not on like draft, it's a $4,000 tournament. It's 181 people, 7-game slate. I'd probably go pretty chalky and let other people make mistakes and just lock in 2 top pitchers here on draft. But on other sites, if they're still cheap, why not? Like I'm pulling up their price here on DraftKings to see kind of where they're at as far as price goes for the Angels. And it looks like they're all priced up. So even to go contrarian there, I would rather just stack the Red Sox and get them at the lower ownership.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find like one pitcher that I can kind of sort of maybe somewhat trust and where it opens things up to some degree where I can actually roll out, a partial stack for Boston. And it's just tricky.
All right, let's talk about this last game. Washington at San Francisco. This might be a game that we could go a little cheap. Tanner Roark, Johnny Cueto. What's your thoughts here on Roark? Is he a guy that might be serviceable enough?
So ground balls, does not give any home runs, and now he moves to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And San Francisco, they don't strike out at all. They're right next to the Angels as far as striking out. They don't strike out a bunch. Roark doesn't strike out a lot of guys either. He had that one outlier game earlier in the year, but forget about that. He's basically going to get you like 5 or 6 if you're lucky. He's probably not going to go beyond 7. He's probably not going to grab the win since he's facing Johnny Cueto, who's pretty efficient, obviously. Pretty solid arm. I'll say this. If you set the over-under at home runs for San Francisco this game, I will take the under. Well, versus Roark, because he's not going to give one up. It's not happening. Nobody on – I will say this also. In addition to that, there's some really cheap prices on FanDuel Belt is 2.9. I know he's been struggling. If you're going to get the Roark, it's going to be with the lefty bat most likely. It's probably not going to go out because, again, Roark just does not really give up many home runs. Ground ball pitcher. And Posey's 3-1. Like, they're not banging one out, but the prices are pretty good.
What's your thoughts here on Harper and Daniel Murphy being so cheap?
Why is Harper, whatever Giancarlo Stanton had like a month ago, I think Harper caught that. He's been terrible. I don't really want to pick on Cueto, but the 3.2K price tag makes it somewhat appealing. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see, Cueto the entire game. Maybe you'll see a reliever. He definitely can go CGSO when things are going well. Yeah. You know what I saw the other day, which was kind of interesting? I saw it was Washington, man on second, 2 outs, and they intentionally walked Daniel Murphy to get to Bryce Harper.
Does that shock you, though? Murphy's just been outrageous this year.
I mean, I know he's been really, really good, but isn't that just strange? You never really know. But there was 4 pitches that were way outside. It's okay, they clearly just didn't want to pitch the Murphy. They prefer to pitch the Harper, and it worked. It worked. Harper popped out in a couple pitches or something like that. The prices are very appealing, but the ballpark stinks. It's the worst ballpark in baseball, basically, for offense. And Johnny Cueto is, unsexy, I suppose. Well, he's sexy when he gyrates, right? I love his gyrations. When you pitch, did you used to gyrate or no?
No.
You should have gyrated.
No,
It extends the career.
I just threw past people. That's all.
It's a weird game because I don't really like the batters, but I like the prices. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a game that I don't love this game at all. I feel like both these pitchers are viable options here, and I just don't like this game.
But we're talking about Harper at 3.2K on FanDuel. That's just silly. I understand he's been terrible. I get it. I know all that. But have you seen he's got commercials? He's good. In theory, he's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think if I'm playing anybody, it would be Daniel Murphy or Trey Turner.
Trey Turner.
Dude, look what Trey Turner has done since they moved him into the leadoff spot. Just pull up the old game log on Trey Turner, and look what he's done. This kid's legit, and he's stealing bases. I love this guy.
He was clocked at least 22 miles per hour. That's pretty fast.
That is pretty fast. I'm a Trey Turner fan. There's no hiding it.
He doesn't lead off every game though. On occasion, they throw him back like in a 6 or 7 hole.
He's been leading off a lot though.
Yeah, that's a big difference for me. But again, do you really want to pick on Cueto? I don't really want to pick on Cueto.
No, I'm not going to pick on Cueto. Like, I would rather pick on Chris Sale than pick on Johnny Cueto. Yes, I said it. Look at the ballparks and look at the matchups. I would rather pick on Sale than I would pick on Cueto.
I think I agree with you.
It's sad. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely sad. I think I would take the Angels before I take the Washington Nationals here.
Well, I'm not playing the Angels, but I would pick off. I mean, I'm more likely to play maybe a Harper as a solo, as an a la carte play. Maybe a Murphy as well. Like you said, 3-6. That's pretty fair as far as the price. But I mean, look, it's a 7-game slate, and there's just not a lot of places where you can just point to and say, yeah, that's where I want to attack.
So, I find this stat interesting. In the month of July, there's a team with 131 WRC plus, and there's a team with 127 WRC plus. They're much higher than They're much higher than the third place team. If you had to guess who those two teams were, who do you think they would be?
I'm going to say that they play on this slate tonight.
They do play on this slate, and they play against each other.
Okay, well, it's the Angels. Yes.
The Red Sox and the Angels have the two highest WRC pluses in the month of July. Can we look at a game stack here that will be super under-owned? Thinking tournaments here, Dean. I'm getting you out of your cash comfort zone. I'm thinking tournaments. I'm thinking against 7-game slate. I'm thinking game theory. What type of ownerships will we see on a game stack of Boston, LA?
Well, I'll tell you, nobody's going to have Cole Calhoun. Just nobody. Nobody's going to go lefty on lefty versus David Price. Just, right there, like we always talk about ownership and all that, Cole Calhoun's going to be like 2, maybe 3% owned, if that. So just that one player right there differentiates you from 97, 98% of the field. So you can, if you wanted to, you can just go chalky the rest of the way, and, assuming Cole Calhoun does his thing, you're good to go.
All right.
You didn't like that answer, did you? You were not on board with that answer.
No, I wanted you to get behind it with me, Dean.
Because the Angels are just. I mean, I can't. Okay, stack them up. Give me the 4 players. Name them.
All right. Let's see. Let me pull up the Angels lineup here. All right. Well, they faced the lefty today, so I'm going to pull up their lineup and see what they rolled out.
Yeah.
We're doing this the responsible way. You're making me do it. I'm going to do it the responsible way. Well, obviously Pujols and Trout, right?
Yeah, I suppose. You're getting no discount on Pujols, by the way. He's 3.7. That's just egregious.
All right, so I would go Yunel Escobar, Trout, Pujols, and Marte.
Oh, Marte's, come on. Marte's 2.3. I guess you're looking to save someone in there, I suppose. I guess. And I heard Calhoun as well.
No.
Okay, Pujols. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly different. I've definitely branched out, and I played some tournaments, this year, and I've had some success with it. But that's probably not something I would do. But
right,
this is why we have different approaches.
So actually, I don't know if I would play Pujols because I think I want Ortiz in my stack. I'm thinking game stack here. I'm actually trying to put this together while we have plenty of time. I would play Bandy probably.
Oh, you're gonna play Johnny G at 2.2K. That's happening.
I don't know. Do you play Johnny or do you play Pedroia?
Well, okay. Who are you pitching if you're spending up for all these guys? You have to throw somebody out there.
I'm trying to make it work with Cole Hamels here.
Good luck with that. You need Johnny G to make it work with Cole.
What if I leave off second base? And honestly, I was building a Texas Boston stack with Hamels, and it was actually working pretty easily.
That's much more compatible because we were talking about Profar is 2-3, and we talked about Gallo, we talked about Mazzara. That way, you can definitely get there, I think.
All right, let's play some home run derby. We're done here, and I'll let you do the honorary leadoff spot, and let me know who you got here for a home run.
I'm going to take just for the block here. I've watched a lot of Match Game or Hollywood Squares throughout my time, and it's going to be I'm going to take not Jim J. Bullock for the block, but I'm taking David Ortiz for the block.
All right. Didn't have Ortiz written down. I'm going super contrarian today. Todd Frazier is my first pick.
Oh, no. Come on. All right, Todd Frazier. Fair enough.
I'm going. This is the contrarian hour with Stevie TPFL.
You're on here sometimes with Siege, so I gotta, just for the other experts, I gotta catch up because I gotta help out whatever Siege misses on. I gotta throw some. I'm gonna throw Stanton your way. Stanton's going yard. That's happening.
All right, Stanton, Poppy, and Stanton. Man, you're not chalk at all.
Well, my last one is not chalky. I already have it. It's in the chamber.
All right. I'm gonna go Gallo. I'm gonna go if he plays and he's in the starting lineup, he's going yard.
Yeah, that was one of my bull. Okay, we're gonna go with a very unenthusiastic Ryan Howard. That's happening. He's going yard. He's banging one out.
Oh, if that happens, I'm gonna lose my mind.
You can make him in the stack 2.1K. You can definitely make some things work.
Oh no, I can't.
I can't. Well, no, I will. I'm going to do it. If he starts, I'm doing it. Right now, I'm pot committed. It has to. I have to have at least one share of Ryan Howard.
Oh, let's see. Where am I going to go with this last one? I want to go a little. I'm going crazy, so I want to stay on my crazy route here. Trying to look. All right, I'm gonna.
Oh no! Don't give me Max Kepler.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go Ben Zobrist.
Oh, the Zorilla let me down so much tonight. Ugh.
Jump back on board. He has a good BVP against Sale. Just saying.
I'm still tilting.
Yeah, didn't he have like an RBI double at one point?
Yeah, which by the way was kind of generous. They probably should have caught that ball, but if that would have went out, it would have been so much better. And like I said, I just got nicked. I was forced, and I wasn't third, and that's the difference between $1,000 and $0. And I got the home version. That's what I got.
So I'm watching. I get back from lunch today. I had a lunch meeting, and I get back from lunch, and the Red Sox Detroit game is still going. And I'm sitting there going, man, I could really use a James McCann home run, and instantly hit a home run. I'm like, man, I wish I run this good all the time.
I ran out one lineup for the early deal, and I stacked Toronto with James McCann. So the McCann part worked.
All right, so this is going to be probably the hardest one of the year. At the end of the day, if you had to pick one pitcher not named Fernandez, Cueto, Sale, Price, or Hamels, anybody over 10K on FanDuel, to pick up a win, doesn't have to score the most fantasy points, but he has to win, who do you have?
Oh, boy. So, talk about leaving me the scraps. I'm
going to blow your mind with mine.
Oh, no. It better not be a ball, though.
No, God, no.
Well, that would be mine. I'm trying to think where you're coming from.
Yeah, we'll
can't go with Hamels. I'm just kind of taking a peek. I'm scrolling through. Cueto we can't take. Jose we can't take. Whistler? Can Whistler win? No. Is Nola going to grab a win? I'm sorry. I'm just stalling. You know what? I don't think I'm playing this guy, but I think Kyle Gibson wins.
Did you hear that? I hope everybody heard the dead air. I was pulling my hair out.
Well, you left me with like 4 guys.
That happened. I did pull my hair out. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Kyle Gibson, sure.
It was not a rousing endorsement. I have no I could have said Lackey and you would have said, "Oh, you're being chalk."
I'm going to go Matt Whistler. And he's a guy that I actually will punt with on this slate.
Yeah, I don't know if he's nuts or not. Like, you said the weather is going to be hot there and the wind's blowing out, which is not appealing, obviously, but Philadelphia kind of stinks. Yeah, I mean, and again, that's the names we're picking from. I'm not going to say you're wrong. It seems like a coin toss to me as far as Whistler versus Nola.
Like, I'm gonna try to build some stacks on today's slate, so I'm gonna need some value. And Whistler's faced Philadelphia twice this year, and in 14.2 innings, he's only allowed 4 earned runs. So, the strikeouts really haven't been tremendous, but he's done enough where he could go out and just pitch decent enough to give you enough fantasy points.
This is what I would do if Ryan Howard cracks the lineup. You gotta get off all your Whistler shares because he's gonna bang one out.
Why? I might play them together. Why not?
There you go.
That's not a thing.
I played Dahl tonight with Bundy. That happened. And it worked?
All the dough. All right, that's going to wrap it up here for the podcast. It's always fun, Dean. It's always fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was I feel better. It was therapeutic because I was tilting before the podcast started. I'm slowly tempering down. I think I'll be all right in about 5 minutes or so. But I think I feel like we talked it out, and I feel like I learned a lot. I enjoyed it.
Always fun, my friend. I always appreciate you jumping on the podcast. You guys can find Dean all the time at 5:30 on Grinders Live. If you want coaching, he's available for coaching as well. Just head on over to the Roto Grinders coaching page. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the Roto Grinders podcast.
What just happened there? Did somebody just recommend Kyle Gibson again? There was more dead air.
Yeah, instant blank. I'm going to edit all that out. So
are we doing that? We're doing a podcast. Okay.
Yeah.